Hey everybody, welcome to another IAIB Spotlight. We took a couple weeks off, but we are back, and we have a guest live in our studio, I should say. I just looked at his face, and it just totally threw me off. Kieran McCann is in studio from LunaticRadio, lunaticradio.com, an early comer to podcasting.
Yeah, really an OG, as they say.
Yeah, you've been doing this for about 11, 12 years.
13, my friend.
Really?
13.
What
13 this November.
What year did you guys start? Because, you know, I know you, and I've known you for a while, but I still have a lot of questions for you, and we've spoken at a bunch of bars, and I thought this would be interesting because you came into this before there was a term podcasting, before there was a term internet broadcasting. You were doing internet radio.
Yeah,
you were just doing radio.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I was doing college radio, and it just so happened the college I was at, all their radio equipment in their studio was from like 1920.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I'm ever going to learn anything about radio, because I was really interested in it, and I can't use this equipment because this is nothing.
Was it not working? It just didn't work.
It worked, but everything you had to record on like cassette tape, which was I guess the thing, but back in those days. But it was just like, I'm not going to learn any. I mean, the technology's moving on and everything like that, and I'm not going to learn anything by using this equipment.
Reel to reels.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was the board was ancient, and I was just like, I need to go buy one of those DJs has that does the 1s and 2s. I need to figure out what that thing is and buy my own equipment and just put it together and record my own radio show. You know what I mean? And that's what I did. And I was like, I'll just try to see if I can put it on the Webernet.
So how did you? I mean, what got you interested in radio? I mean, you're a New York guy, so
it's just growing up. I think it's the same with anybody else listening to those guys on the radio when you're younger and you hear those deep voices and they're making jokes and stuff and having fun. And for me, it was Don Imus, even though I didn't find him that like entertaining, but he was just crazy. And
you found it interesting.
Yeah, when I was 4 years old, my dad would blast it throughout the house in the morning when he was getting up for work, and I was like, "Who is this mysterious voice going?"
My wife Deidre.
And and at the time, he was probably crocked out of his gourd on the air, and I was like, "Wow, that sounds like a fun thing." And that was like the initial
thing that got you into
it just resonated with me as a kid, and I didn't know what it was, But
then obviously you got into Howard, and you got into Opie and Anthony.
As I got into college and became a young 20-something, trying to figure out my life, and now I'm an old 30-something and still trying to figure out things. But yeah, I mean, it's radio's fun, and what our show is, the Lunatic Radio Show, is literally just the show about having fun. It's about those times when, I mean, everybody has I always love those moments in life where you're just hanging out with some friends, like at a diner, having some food and sharing some laughs.
That's what the show is.
And I kind of wanted to bring that to radio.
But let me go back a little, because you did college radio. Then you started interning at NEW.
WNEW.
Which was, I mean, the late 90s. That was the station you wanted to be on in New York.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, it was rocking, and it was talk, right?
It was all talk when I went.
It was all talk when you went.
It was all talk. It was, the old, the late 90s talk radio in New York was...
Oh, it was huge.
It was everything.
Yeah.
And WNEW at those times, even though it didn't show in the ratings, they were having the most fun in radio. So I wanted to go there. I wanted to see what those guys were doing. And, Opie and Anthony did their show. That's when Opie and Anthony, started taking off. And
Ron and Fez.
They became who they were, and Ron and Fez, and guys like Don and Mike and Scott Farrell.
Spencer Coburn was on NEW at that time.
Spencer Colburn, yes. That's
Colburn.
Colburn.
You always do that.
I always do that. That's when I learned of Spencer's name, and it was just anarchy, and it was a great place to learn what I wanted to learn about radio. I wanted to learn about having fun on radio. Obviously, I wanted to learn the technical stuff and actually, having a presence on air, but those guys... Those shows at that time had a blast on the air, and it was great actually seeing talk radio people, at the top of their game doing, syndicated radio. That was the greatest learning experience I ever had, and it was 4 months of just fun and anarchy. It was awesome.
Did you learn anything from that experience of interning at the radio station?
Absolutely. I mean,
because a lot of people do now, I feel, because I know a bunch of people that interned at Sirius, and I think they just do it for the cool factor. Like, I know a bunch of Howard interns. I don't know anybody that has taken that and done something in radio. I think they all do it because it's cool. It's the Howard Stern show. But I feel like, I don't know. Nobody that I know that has interned at a station has kind of taken that and gone somewhere with it. I think it's this cool factor of, I'm interning at some hit show.
Right. Well, that's when I went in for my interview to get the internship at WNEW. We're talking years ago, people. I was a huge fan of the O&A show, and that was the biggest show in New York at the time, other than Howard. And when I went in for my interview, the guy asked me, he was like, "What show would you want to be on?" And I was like, "Well, what show can I be on?" He's like, "You can be on any single one." But he's like, Ron and Fez, they use their interns way more than the O&A show does.
You'll learn a lot more.
The O&A show, you'll probably be, maybe you'll be on air for a couple seconds at some point.
Or you're going to end up becoming like a gopher and get there
get the coffee. Get the coffee. But Ron and Fez incorporate you into the show. They give you nicknames. You're doing remote calls from places. And I was like, all right, I want to do that. So throw me on the Ron and Fez show.
Yeah.
And I did many of stunts, and I ended up getting kicked off the radio show.
Why'd you get kicked off?
Because I wouldn't shave my head for something. I was supposed to construct a spelling bee for Al Dukes, who was producing at the time, and Rory Hamptons, who was the associate
Al
producer.
Dukes is now with
Boomer and Carton in the morning.
Yeah,
#1 sports talk radio show in New York. So I was supposed to do this spelling bee, and of course, me being the numbnuts, for a spelling bee, I misspelled one of the words.
What was it?
I think it was warranty or something. Yeah, that's what it was. I think it was warranty. So I'm in the studio, and I guess they were about to do the spelling bee with Al and Rory on the air, and Fez is going through the list of questions I came up with, a list of words I came up with for these guys to spell, and he goes down to the last one on the list. And of course, I think this was a bit, because I don't think I actually spelled warranty wrong. And if you ask me to spell it, I probably can't spell it now, but I Googled everything, And he calls me and he's like, "What happened?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "How do you spell warranty?" And I tried to spell it on the air, and I probably got it wrong.
Yeah.
And they're like, "You screwed up colossally here. This is it." It's like the end of the world.
Yeah.
And I was 22. My first time on air, I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
And when you stare at Ron Bennington in the face when you're 22 years old and have no idea what radio is about, that's pretty intimidating.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, you got to do something. You got to shave your head." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't want to shave my head," because I had the Eddie Vedder thing going on at the time.
Oh, no.
And I was out of shape, and I was 5'6". I was like, "There's no way I'm getting laid if I shave my head." So it's it came down to, he's like, "Shave your head or leave the show."
Yeah. And you left the show.
And I was like, "I got to leave the show." And at the time, they were mad at me.
Because they thought you would make a bit out of it. And
or go with it or be fun about it. And maybe I should have done that. But it was cool. I actually couldn't come in when the show was airing anymore. I had to come in the mornings and do all the prep work. That's what my internship turned into, and I learned a lot from that. But it was fun.
So you did the internship. At what point did you say, I want to? Because you could have gone in two directions. You could have shopped around this idea that you're gonna do a show. You could have started out, interning, then producing, then possibly going on air as a filler. How did you veer off to doing an internet broadcast?
Well, I was actually doing the Lunatic Radio show at the time.
So when did you start that? When did you start Lunatic Radio?
That was just, a handful of months before I went to started doing the internship here and there. And then, once I came to the end of my internship, I could have taken that route, trying to be a producer for Ron and Fez, associate producer or something, go on to one of the other shows. But I always just wanted to go focus on my own thing and develop because I didn't have a personality. At that age, you don't have a personality.
Sure.
Although everybody, I'm sorry if you're younger and you're listening to this, and you're all monkeys. Honestly, you'll learn as you get older. You'll wise up, and you'll come into your own. You won't feel like you'll need to live up to somebody's standards. I don't feel like I need to do that anymore. And I actually have my own personality.
Yeah,
and that's what I wanted to develop. That's what I was interested in, because I knew if I didn't do that, I wouldn't ever be any good on radio or be able to do a radio show. So I always wanted to focus on my own radio.
So tell me about how you started Lunatic Radio. How did that come about? How did you put it together? What was it like the first couple of years of the broadcast?
I had no idea. I was learning. I was literally learning from start. I mean, from production level, editing stuff. I mean, when we started doing our show, we were actually recorded it live, analog onto CDs. And we had to stop every 80 minutes because the CD would run out.
So you would tell me about what was your setup like?
It was like a DJ mixer, like the guy that spins the ones and twos. Yeah. It was like 8 levels. I had 2 microphones, and I had a live CD recorder.
And you would record the show on that?
I would record the show on that, on CD, and you'd see it, and it would be burning, and I would have to stop every 80 minutes and save it, take out the CD, put in another CD, and go, okay, we're back on the show, you know?
And you had a track behind you. I remember that about the show.
Yeah, because I heard that on radio. And a lot of, like, the mix radio, at least the guys on like morning shows, like the morning zoo shows, they would play like a loop, a music loop, and it was terrible.
Scotty Farrell still does that.
It does he? Yeah, I know. Scott doesn't even know what he's doing.
Scotty does that.
Probably half hammered at the time he's on the air.
And how would you take that show and put it online? So you would take the show, you would record it on a CD, then you would take that, edit that, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
and post it on your website.
I had no idea about web design, and I still don't. Because thank God I have Rocket, because he's the guy that does all that stuff for me. But I actually paid some dude in India
to make a website.
To make a website for me, and it was one page. I had one button, and it said "Listen."
That's it.
And at that time, there wasn't like I didn't.
There was no WordPress.
I don't think there was any MP3s at that time.
What? Just like 98, 99?
This is Real Media. I had to use the Real Media.
RM, yeah.
.rm file, and it only condensed my hour-long piece of audio into like 300 and something megabytes, and I would just put that on a server. I forget where I think you put it on some sort of Real Media thing or whatever, and people can go to my website, click the button, and play the show. And somebody told me for the server space I had, if like 36 people or more listen to the show, I was going to be paying a fortune in overage.
Yeah, sure. No, and you know that's actually really funny you say that, because we had Chauncey Hayden on doing, you know Chauncey.
Yeah.
He came in and he was talking about the early days of IATA, which is around the same time that you were doing this.
Yeah.
And they had the same exact problem. The reason why IATA failed is because of the cost.
Yeah.
Of having the show up as an RM file. That was the only way people could listen to the show at that point.
Oh, they did RM
and
files.
And they did RM files because that was the only way, really. Nobody could listen in any other way, streaming media. And the cost was so high that they could not do it anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it just fell apart because of the cost.
Yeah, but I mean, literally at that time, I didn't care if anybody listened to the damn show.
How many people were listening? I mean, I'm just curious.
We did have like a contingent of girls from Texas that would listen. There were a few here and there.
But nothing like...
No. Literally, you're talking like a dinner party worth of people listening to the radio show.
Small dinner party.
Yeah, but that was fine with me because I just wanted to develop the show.
You were just having fun.
Yeah, I know.
It was you and your brother.
I grabbed a friend of mine that I was actually kind of funny with.
Okay.
And I thought, I'll just do it with him and we'll figure it out. And we tried to do at that point when you're just starting out, you're kind of just playing radio.
I think that, I still say I'm playing radio. Yeah. I'm playing radio with a lot of expensive stuff. Yeah, I'm not doing
getting
radio.
even more expensive.
It's getting even more expensive when you guys see what we have in,
oh my God.
in the boxes next to me.
Radio porn over here.
Yeah, that's what Kieran said. Kieran walked in.
He's like, this
is like pornography. Like,
it's
like obscene at this point.
To be honest with you.
But, I kind of started out the same way. I was doing it with Kunal. He's a stand-up comic.
Right.
And we would literally, I started way after you, so it was a little bit better, but we were still rigging the entire thing. He would sit in my dining room, and I would sit in my office, and we would Skype each other and record the Skype conversation off the computer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how we started doing it, and we literally put it up. A couple of people watched, and the first time we went live, that's when everything changed. Because somebody at Stickum.com was moving to Queens, and they saw the guys from Queens. They just slapped us on the front page, and we're just two idiots in the room. We don't even, we really had no concept of this. We were just BSing back and forth. We had like 5,000 people watch. I'm like, holy crap, I got to do something. If I do this every week, nobody's going to watch. Right. And that kind of motivated me to kind of move on. At what point did you guys, or did you say, wow, I may be onto something here? Or never.
Years into it, maybe. I mean,
because you always tell me like 2007 was like your like best year. In your opinion.
I mean, rock. Adam, my co-host, we call him Rocket. He came into the picture about 3 or 4 years into it, and gradually, I mean, I think at that time I had me, my buddy Doug, this guy Ron, and Adam all on the show at the same time. I had 4 guys on the show, and gradually over time, we just figured out that, you know what, I work a lot better with Rocket.
Yeah, why do you think that? I mean, that's an important thing.
It just happened. Like we just, when we talk and do radio things together, we're just better. We play off each other. I know what he's thinking, and he knows what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And the conversation just flows better that way. So I just realized that, and I kind of just weaned out the other guys over time.
You know, that's a big part of putting together a show that's successful. And I always tell people, I've done a couple interviews about this, and people always ask me, like, well, what's one factor that works? I mean, and I tell people, I'm like, you could have the best equipment in the world, you could have the best camera, you could have the best stream, and you could sound great. But if you have a co-host and you guys don't click,
you don't have chemistry. You're done.
If there's no chemistry, and chemistry is not something that could be built. I think it's there from the second you get into the room. Right. I mean, Kunal, we go back and forth all the time, and we butt heads all the time. But when we put on the mic together, I'm 100% comfortable.
Absolutely.
I don't think that's something you could build. I think that's something that you have from the second you start working together.
Yeah, it's like a light switch. Lights on, lights
so
off.
You knew. I mean, the second you came in, you knew this is it.
Yeah. No, I knew Rocket and I could do something. And then we started doing shows together. And actually game planning the shows and actually doing production and segments and this and that and the other thing. And when we did that and put together the show and put it up online, then people started actually listening. And then I started getting feedback.
So what year is this? I mean, what year are we talking about? Early 2000s.
2003, 2004, really. Okay. Is that when 2003 is when I really started doing shows with Rocket. And then 2004, 2005. And then we really started hitting what we call the heyday of Lunatic Radio. I mean, literally, people, I'm still beginning my career, and I'm 13 years into this. So if you're just starting out on an internet radio show, man, give it some time. Maybe not 13 years.
Maybe not 13 years.
But yeah, that's when we started getting a lot of people listening to the show and feedback, and that's what really fueled Rock and I to keep on going. Because
how did you guys promote it? Because we've discussed this a couple times. Promoting a show in 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005 was way different than now. I mean, you didn't have Facebook. You didn't have Twitter. You barely had MySpace. There was no YouTube. How do you get the word out about your show?
Well, somewhere along the line, and this was around that time, 2004, 2005, 2006, I don't know, but iTunes started doing the podcasting thing, right?
That's 2006, 7, I
somewhere
believe.
Around then. Whenever that started, because we really didn't do much. We didn't know how to like promote the thing. I mean, I guess we would just we did the T-shirt and bumper sticker thing with our listeners. So they put them on our cars and drive around, and they would take pictures and they would send them back into us. We would just send people T-shirts off, for free. Just to do that kind of thing, because I think that's the only way we knew how to do it. And then you would, do your internet things and please tell 10 people to listen to the LunaticRadio.com show or whatever. But around when iTunes started doing the podcasting thing, they started, I don't know when that was, but they started featuring us on that.
Well, what they did, there was this website, Podcast Alley. And they bought the directory from them. I believe so. I mean, don't quote me on this, but I believe reading that. They bought the directory from there, and they took their successful shows, and they started featuring it. But a lot of people on the early days got featured because there wasn't too many people doing it.
Right.
So
that helped us out.
Of course, yeah. I mean, that's a huge help.
And now it's like a different story because everybody and their grandmother's got a podcast, and so we got knocked back down. But that's a whole different story. But I mean, we were on there, and I think that helped out because then we started getting feedback. Hey, I got your show on iTunes.
Yeah,
you guys are funny. People leaving comments, and so it worked out. It's like we kept the show going for as long as we have, is because we enjoy generally just making people laugh, and I enjoy getting the feedback from people letting me know that, hey, you're making me laugh. It's funny.
Yeah.
And as long as that continues to happen, I will continue to do the show. But, I'm at a point where I need to start, monetizing the damn thing. But
let me ask you this. at what point did monetization of the show become an important factor? Is that something now that you're really considering it?
Recent, because
you've always done it because it's fun for you and you enjoy doing it. But recently you've started saying, okay, I gotta change this.
Yeah, no, and I think it's a thing with if anybody does anything for an extended period of time, they gotta evolve it. They gotta get something back from it. Maybe more than you thought. Like, so, I mean, if you're a stand-up comic, you're not going to be doing stand-up comedy for the rest of your life for free. You're not.
Yeah.
You're not going to, if you're a plumber, you're not going to be, doing plumbing work for free.
Yeah.
It's anything. So, I mean, but I'm not going to put the burden on our listening base to give me money. No, I mean, I'm going to go out there and find other avenues.
But yeah. Adam Carolla actually has a really funny line in his book. He was talking about going to Sirius. Because there was a time that, he went online and Sirius wanted him to come and, I think, do like mornings for Howard.
Right.
And they offered him no money.
Yeah,
they literally said, no, we're not paying you. We're just going to put your show on. And he attributed this because he's on the internet. It's like, well, you're doing it for free anyway, and you're making a couple bucks from an advertiser. You're going to be on radio again. And he gave the most simple and best explanation ever. He goes, it's like hiring a roofer. He goes on your roof and he starts fixing the leak on your roof, and he's like, hey, listen, by the way, I'm not paying you for this. It's just the experience you're getting from this that's worth it.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you can't do that. You can't tell a roofer, hey, listen, work for the experience, not for the money.
Right, exactly.
I thought that was interesting, and I think that's happened a lot with this. I think with internet broadcasting, because it's still so new.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've been doing it for a while, but let's 5-6 years is really where podcasting took off. It's still new.
Yeah, no, it's still new.
I think that's the problem.
I think
companies don't know how to advertise on these shows.
I think we're hitting the beginning.
I
think we're hitting the beginning of that era of where this is actually gonna internet radio and podcasting and this thing. This is actually gonna take hold of what radio is. But I think we're hitting the beginning of that.
See, we've spoken about this a couple times, and
I hope.
Hopefully, crossing my fingers.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, your idea was to develop the show and then take it to a radio station or syndicate it. Is that still something that you want to do, or have you decided, you know what, that's not the direction I want to take it?
No, because of the same as the Adam Carolla thing, right? Like if Adam got, they weren't gonna give Adam any money to do his show on Howard, and I actually had talks with Jeremy Coleman over there at Sirius and like email conversations, and I sent him like 3 or 4 demos, and he listened to each single one, and he actually gave me constructive criticism coming back and this and that. But it turned out that any channel that he would put our show on were full of people that are already paying.
Sure.
So I was like, all right, this is not going to work out. I got to find another avenue. So it's there were some spots for me, and even if they did take me, I don't know if it would have worked out anyway. But
yeah, I mean, your show has a following, and I hear from people all the time. And I remember when I started out doing this, one of the first shows that I saw was, I mean, you guys were there.
The greatest compliment I ever get from like a listener, and we get it almost more often than not, is people that call in for the first time or send us an email for the first time or something like that. They're like, hey, I'm Tim, or I'm Stacy, I'm this and that. I've been listening since 2005.
And that's insane, right?
I'm just like, there are always people that. I think yesterday was the first time I actually got like a Twitter message from somebody say, hey, I just heard your show for the first time yesterday. Usually it's people sending me, hey, I've been listening since 2008. I've been listening to 2000.
Yeah.
I love you guys. And I was like, that's the coolest fucking thing, because I've been in somebody's head for years and I haven't even known it.
I'm telling you, I hear you in my head even when I'm not listening.
I constantly hear Rocket with his whippy.
Yeah.
High-pitching, cackling voice he has.
So you guys have moved studios? Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he does. Little bit. It's kind of a gay
I actually
thing.
had lunch with him the other day, Sunday.
Yeah.
We had Bloody Marys and sandwiches. It was really nice.
Probably a couple glasses of wine.
No wine. No Pinot Grigio. We don't like Chardonnay. Whatever. Rocket does not like Chardonnay. But I was talking to him about, we always talk about the show, and I've always been fascinated on the longevity of the show and the fact that you've sustained an audience all these years and that you've gotten big guests.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of our viewers are up-and-coming guys, and they're starting out in this, and they'll send out an email, and I've gotten emails from people, and this is a question that's constantly asked, regardless of how do you make money, you know, that's one thing. But how do you get a guest? How do you convince someone that is much bigger than you to give you a shot and to be interviewed by you? How have you done it?
Just being kind of resilient with emails. I mean searching in the early days, you just look up somebody's publicist. You looked at it was crazy because I don't think anybody was really doing it at the time. I didn't know of many people that did internet radio shows getting people like Dane Cook on the show. I didn't know of that, but somehow I got lucky and I did.
You had a lot of them.
We befriended a young lady who loved our radio show, and we asked her out, and she was really a go-getter and stuff, and we kind of made her a part of the show. Her name was Jenny, and she was like, hey, I'll try booking for you guys, booking. And I was like, okay. I was like, she's like, who do you want to book? And I was like, all right, give me that Dane Cook guy because he seems pretty funny.
Yeah.
And at the time, he was putting out a CD called Retaliation, which was, setting records with comedy albums or whatever.
Yeah.
And she was able to get them for us because she was resilient. And I was going, her and I were going back and forth on how to construct the email to his, and it just. Once we got one, I knew if we got one big guy,
you'll get
we can use getting that big guy to get other people on the show, because we'll go to the other publicist and go, hey, Bill Burr, we had Dane Cook on. How about you? Can you try getting Bill on for us? And Bill will come do the show. And that's how it worked. And
you've had almost every major comic.
Yeah, so we had everybody from Dane Cook to Greg Maddox on the show.
Who's one guy that you've always wanted but you haven't been able to get?
On the show, I don't know.
Or you haven't asked. Who's that one interview you want to do?
I'm at the point where I don't really care about talking to people.
I know.
I don't care about interviewing people. At this point, I don't like interviewing people. I kind of just like having them come on the show and just hang out with us. Whatever they want to talk about.
You have to have one guy though.
One guy. I would love to actually. I would love to sit around on a couple radio microphones, certainly with somebody like Anthony Cumia.
Yeah,
I would love to do that. But
because
that's
the story's interesting
because he's a great storyteller and stuff like that. Artie Lang, I would love to have. Certainly, I'm sure there's some actors out there. Wouldn't it be great to just sit around with some famous actor and just talk to him like on a normal level?
It depends, I've spoken to a couple people, and they've said that there are a couple of these guys that are huge names and they're awful interviews. Like Robert De Niro's an awful interview, and Derek Jeter is an awful interview.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
They say he has nothing to say, and you'll never get anything out of him.
I'm sure there's some golfer out there that I would love to just sit around.
Yeah,
with.
you like golf
because I like golf, but yeah, not really. Last week, usually Rock and I have like a rotating third micer that comes on the show, and which is great and stuff. But once in a while, we'll take a break from doing that and just do a show with Rock.
How does that affect the dynamic of the show when you bring in a third person?
It changes it a lot. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it works.
Because I've done the third mic, but I kind of get the show.
Sometimes, and I do from time to time. I'll go, we're taking a break from that because we're losing the feel of our show. So Rock and you and I have to do the show together, and that's what we would do. That's what we did last week, and we flowed, and I kind of enjoy that more than having a guest on when it's just me and Rock.
I've always, I always feel like depending on who the guest is, obviously, like if it's like I have a couple guys that are regulars and they'll come on, and I'm really comfortable with having them on. But a lot of times it's just it's work.
Yeah, no,
you don't know if they're gonna get it, and I know you guys probably have that problem because you guys. You guys do a comedy show, and you guys curse, and you guys have fun on there. Has there been a time like someone just doesn't get the show?
No, it's almost 50-50. When I have a third micer in, and I actually told this to Adam Rocket before the show last week, before we were about to go on air. I was like, man, sometimes when we have those third micers in, I feel like, when I'm talking on the microphone trying to entertain the people listening, I also got to entertain this person sitting next to me.
Yeah.
Because he's staring at me. I can feel the damn eyes on my head. Like, I need to entertain him.
Has there ever been like a third mic that came in and was like, I just don't get this?
We had a co-host for like that for like...
What are you talking? What do you mean?
No, I always pick on Josh Gogan. He co-hosted the show for like 3 years. And he was just one of those... He was very quiet.
Yeah.
So... inevitably I'd always just sit there and I feel like I had to entertain Josh today, which would take away from me doing the show with Rocket, But that's annoying sometimes.
But I feel like you've changed kind of the show. You've changed the tone of the show a little bit. You've kind of settled down.
Yeah, no, I was back in the day when we started, I wouldn't allow cursing on the show. It had to be clean. And then we got to a point where when we started having a guest on, everything had to be really structured.
Yeah.
Segments, this and that. And then, over time, we were just like, I think we found our stride over time, even after the era, I would call it, of having a bunch of guests all the time. We kind of passed that, and we hit our stride with our personalities, I think. I think we actually came into our own, and now we just let it fly, We just let it fly. Yeah. And it is structured. Yeah, I put some thought into it before I go on the air. But.
Rock was, when I was having lunch with Rock, he goes, I don't know how you let us do half the stuff that we do.
I know.
I'm like, I don't even know.
It's funny because I'm at the point where I don't even know what the hell I'm saying half the time.
I told him, and I was so honest, I'm like, if I didn't like you guys, the show would have been canned a year ago. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, no, people seem to. We have fun.
No, I think the show's a lot of fun, and I think that's the important thing about doing an internet broadcast. I think you have to have fun with what you do. Don't just do it to do it, because the audience sees that. If they know you're not enjoying it, there are days that I go out there and I'm doing a show, and I know I don't want to be there. It's just whatever it is, and we all go through this.
Yeah,
you're going through the motions. I just don't want to be there. I need a break. And it's obvious. The audience sees that. Yeah. They see that I'm disconnected. They could tell, and it's a crappy show.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And sometimes before I do the damn radio show, it's like a job to me. And I'm like, I don't want to be at work today. But, as soon as that microphone flips on, I lighten up. I lighten up, and then we find something in the show that's really fun, and we have a blast. I
don't know what that noise was. Oh. Have you guys taken a break from doing the show? Has there been a time where you took
a couple months off?
Yeah.
No, never really.
I mean, that's impressive to me. That's really impressive because you don't see that too often. You see a lot of people take breaks.
Well, it's like an addiction to me, though. Yeah. I like with somebody with alcohol, they don't take a break from drinking alcohol. Sometimes they have to, but that's what I feel like. Like having those moments where you're sitting across the table from somebody and you organically you develop something that makes you fucking laugh. That is awesome, man. And that is the thing I want to generate every time I do a radio show. That organic laughter, that or some funny wacky topic that just makes you laugh. That's what I love about doing our show. And I know our show is not for everybody. It's kind of and we don't mean to be raunchy for the sake of being raunchy. I don't like people that do that. I don't. That kind of turns me off.
I'll be honest with you. When I first I ran into the show years ago. I mean, when I guess like 2006, 2007, I ran into the show, and I ran into it again when you guys were doing the live stream. And I was just flipping through, and I think I put in comedy podcasts or whatever it was, and you guys came up in Google, and I'm like 646. That's the phone number. I'm like, that's a Long Island number.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, these are local guys.
Yeah.
I was like, I should call him. I'm like, but that Kieran is such a dick.
Right.
And I started listening to it. I'm like, yeah, but you know what? There's no meanness here. You guys aren't mean.
No, I don't.
You're busting balls, whatever. And it just so happened that Rocket sent me a message, and I tweeted you like around the same, like a day or two. And he just happens to live a couple blocks away from me.
Yeah.
And we linked up from there. But I think there's a difference between having the humor that you guys have and just being mean.
Right.
At least you guys do it in a funny way, and
Well, that's going back to the the thing I was saying, that Rock and I found our personalities. Like we're on the air, we're completely comfortable. We are who we're real. We're not putting on.
Do you think that's you? Off the air.
I am the same person on the air that I am off. Like I when I go out with my anybody that I'm dating, I talk to them the same way I talk to Rocket. Like I don't put on a mood.
Rocket's like,
I'm always the same. Like but back in the day, like the 2005, and as I was in the early days, we were playing. We were playing character. We were trying to be the radio guy. Oh, taking a break, coming back right after this. Like we were putting on an act. But then we kind of just fell into our own. We found our ourselves on the air. Rock's completely comfortable on the air. I'm completely comfortable on the air, and together
I'm very comfortable. Not comfortable when you guys are on the air.
I know some people might feel uncomfortable when they're on the air with us, but and I think that comes across, and I think people. That's why maybe folks identify with us because we are who we are.
Now, what's the direction that you want to take the show? The next 5 years of the show. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you plan on doing? What are you doing?
Well, I want to expand it. I want to have more fun. That's what I want to do.
Okay.
So, I'm in talks to move the show. I'll still do the Monday night show. We do it once a week. Our show's Monday night. It's on this GFQ radio network. And I'm going to continue to do that show with Rock on Monday nights. But the following 3 days, Tuesday through Thursday, I hooked up with a comedy club in Manhattan called The Stand.
Just open. Great reviews for the place.
Great place. Yeah, they have the Seth Levine, their chef is amazing. And they've had top acts there. Artie Lang, Dane Cook, Bill Burr, everybody's been there. Jim Florentine, Norton's been there. And what they did was they developed, obviously they have the stage downstairs and stuff. But on the stage, it's hookups for podcasting right there.
Yeah.
On stage. So I'm gonna take the show and I'm gonna do it there Tuesday through Thursday in the mornings and broadcast live from the stand, and it'll be on camera and all that stuff. And this will enable me to be in New York City, have a studio space
morning
for
show.
myself,
yeah,
and be able to get guests on the show.
It's kind of hard getting them to Queens, right?
It's hard getting them to Queens.
Yeah,
but and doing phoners is fine, but phone call interviews are completely annoying.
Because it has to be difficult to do 3 days compared to just doing a 3-hour show once a day. Are you going to structure the show in a different way?
The show from Tuesday through Thursday in the city will be shorter. We're going to start out at 2 hours.
Okay, I think that's a good idea.
And
3 hours is tough, man.
3 hours is tough, but I put it. I told the guys that I'm going to be doing the show with, and unfortunately, Rock's not going to be coming with me to New York City. He'll come anytime. The door's always open, but he's obviously Rock's he's a man about town. He's got to do his thing.
Yeah.
But I told the guys we'll do 2 hours, but if something's going good on the show,
you could go a little longer.
Yeah, the next hour is available for us to just go over.
Yeah.
So, but and this will enable us to not only do one show a week, because on iTunes when you do one show a week, it's death. It's death. You need more. You need material on iTunes almost every day. You need to update stuff every day. But I'm gonna be doing 4 shows.
That's a lot.
So I'm gonna have 4 days of material uploaded every day, and I think that will help me not only monetize eventually, but that'll help me grow my numbers, get more people interested in the show, more people listening, more interaction,
sure,
and the more fun. That's the more fun I'm gonna have.
Who's co-hosting with you?
It's still up in the air. I'm actually. The funny thing is that I just began kind of going through. I actually have people sending me resumes.
Wow.
The co-host. I have kids from around the area. Not kids. I guess they're up and coming comedians. Some of them are they do podcasts.
Have a rotating chair.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna find somebody and I'm gonna stick them there, and they're not moving.
Yeah.
I'm not doing the rotating thing because that would change the show. And then I also thought, I was like, maybe I should do solo and just have a
comic come in. Yeah. Solo stuff. I mean,
no, but I was like, I don't know if I can do that. I need somebody to bounce something off of. I can't just talk to a wall.
It's really different when you do that. I'll tell you.
And initially we won't have the phone system hooked up, so I can't just be taking calls.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be fun. I want to have fun, and I want the show to continue to grow and be fun for everybody out there listening who enjoys the show.
I think it's great.
It's a party. It's like it really is a party. It's a fun thing to do. I mean, I could never, like, somebody going to an office job that they hate. I don't know how they do that. Like, I can't do that. I did that for a period of 6 months, and I was like, this is death.
Yeah.
This is death. I know I'm collecting a paycheck and stuff, and it's great. This is death. I'd rather go out there and find my own way.
Now, in 5 years, where do you want to be?
I honestly want to be either. I want this to be working in 5 years.
Every day.
Every day.
That's a big step.
And I don't want to. It's not like I want to be famous or something. I don't care about.
You just want to do a show every day, make a couple bucks to put in your pocket.
Yeah, and be able to.
Listen, I think it's totally possible.
Pay for my car and all that stuff.
Yeah.
With it. That's what I want. I want it to be my living. It's gonna be a freaking colossal pain in the ass. Trust me. 24/7, 7 days a week. Andrew does has a network. I mean, I'm just thinking about my one show, and it's 24/7.
Yeah,
24/7.
It is. I mean, it's a lot of work, but
it's crazy.
You're like a fungus. You just keep growing, and you can.
I never go away. I'm like cancer. I never go away.
You never go away.
Unless with radiation.
LunaticRadio.com is the website. You can watch them live every Monday on the GFQ network. GFQlive.tv Monday nights at 8 p.m. East. You could also follow them on Twitter at Lunatic Radio. Kieran, you don't have like a personal Twitter, right?
No,
you need one.
That I am the at Lunatic Radio. Rock doesn't tweet on it. I just do. So anything I tweet, even if I favorite pictures of like naked chicks, that's always me.
It's all you.
It's always me.
Rocket would be like favoriting razors and
wine. Razors and wine stuff.
LunaticRadio.com. Again, if you miss any portion of the show, you can go to our website, ibroadcastnetwork.org, and catch the archive there. It's also archived on GFQlive.tv, and of course, we're going to replay it constantly. Kieran, thanks for coming in, man.
Thank you, Andrew. I love you.
I love you too.
I love everybody.
I love Kieran. All right, guys.
Come listen to the show, people. Monday nights, 8 p.m. It's fun.
Hey, and if people want to watch your show live, like in the club, can they do that when you're doing it?
Oh yeah, no, it will be streamed live and all that stuff. It'll be on camera.
If they want to actually come in.
Oh yeah, no, we'll be having dates like that.
Okay.
And even I can't really talk about it that much right now because I don't know for certain. But on November 9th at 5 p.m. at the Stand in New York City, 20th and 3rd. Rock and I will be doing the LunaticRadio.com show at 5 p.m. with a special guest in studio with us who hasn't been booked yet, but it's pretty good.
It's a good guest.
And I think we're going to be incorporating a live audience in for that because it's in celebration of the New York Comedy Festival.
Very cool.
So it's going to be fun.
Very cool. LunaticRadio.com, and of course follow his Twitter for more information. We'll see y'all next week, guys. Good night.